Hello class. Today we are going to focus on getting healthy. Within this lesson, I will mainly focus on healthy and unhealthy food items. I have listed 3 objectives for a better understanding. Objective 1. Observing what types of foods we spend our money on. Are we spending our money on more healthy foods or unhealthy foods? Objective 2. Learning what your health goals are. What are your health goals? Do you have any? Objective 3. Finding out what students' weaknesses are and improve them. Do you have any weaknesses when it comes to physical activity? If so, let's explore it and make some improvements. Foods that contribute to obesity. Okay, unhealthy foods can be pretty tricky to solve. In order for that not to happen, we're going to split up into groups. And in these groups, there will be a display of healthy foods and unhealthy foods. Each food choice has a color circle. Once we figure out which healthy foods are, and once we figure out which unhealthy foods are, we will then determine which color is unhealthy food item and which color is an unhealthy food item. In this next part of the lesson, we will have visuals. The focus of this slide is to show you what are in these healthy foods. Like what are the main ingredients and what are, healthy and unhealthy. Now, what these visuals are, they're ways of showing you what are in these healthy foods, as I said previously, and what are in the unhealthy foods as well. When eating, you want to know what you're eating. You want to know what you're putting inside your body. So with this slide, you'll be able to visualize what's going within your body. And a lot of unhealthy foods aren't really good for you because they can cause lots of complications within your body. Visuals are a very good way for me to show you how we determine what we are talking about here today. Actually seeing it gives us a better understanding of what healthy foods and unhealthy foods are. In this part of the lesson, I'm going to be explaining the importance of getting and staying active. This is the most important. I have a list of questions that I will be asking each student. And the questions are: how long should you engage in physical activity every day? How hard should you exercise? What is physical activity? Why is physical activity important? Can physical activity help reduce the obesity rate? How bad is obesity affecting the United States? With all these questions, we look for, as teachers and educators, we look for the feedback and the input that the students have. Whenever you get the input from the students, you will then be able to determine what you would need as an educator to teach these children how and what to do as far as these questions goes. Because a lot of them, they really don't know how long they should engage in physical activity. So I will be the one to let them know that the answer is 30 minutes. A lot of times 30 minutes may seem like a lot, but believe me, it's not. Okay, once I get the answers for these questions, which should take about 20 minutes for completion. I will then, like I said, I will then explain the answers, the real true answers to my students. These questions are a good way for me as an educator to figure out what the students know as a whole. After these questions, I will reveal the correct answers and take feedback. On this next lesson, we'll begin to talk about interpersonal skills. Children will learn how to play and, work together as a team. The importance of this role in physical activity is that children will learn how to work together as a team, as I've stated previously. Teamwork and or working together helps the student enjoy the activity more. It makes it more fun to work with others rather than by yourself. Students who work together will see the importance of physical activity so that they will be able to enhance the task that is at hand. The skills that include the interpersonal level will be conflict resolution, active listening, being assertive, giving and receiving compliments, leadership, and fellowship. Some of the qualities of fellowship include cooperating with a leader and being a good team player. Because students will have completed physical education and health education programs in years 9 through 10, they can be expected to have prior knowledge of these interpersonal skills. However, if teachers identify a need to develop students' interpersonal skills, these skills should be done before or at the same time as these adventure-based learning activities. During this part of the lesson, my students will learn how to use their bodies and natural surroundings as a workout tool. I will have my students set up a game of basketball, but this won't be an ordinary basketball game. Within this basketball game, I will have each student make a basket so that I will use that to determine the calories that are in certain foods. This will also be a way of showing students that the calories that they are burning are equal to shooting the basketball into the basket. This is an example of mixing a popular sport with a health issue that is on the rise. Within the logic part of the lesson, I will have the students think about how much money they're actually spending on healthy foods and non-healthy foods. Students will be jotting down on an average about how much money they spend on junk food and healthy food. I will then ask my kids to write down how they can improve their spending on healthy foods. On average, a child will spend dollars and dollars with just chips, candy, pops alone. But in reality, the healthy foods are the less expensive. I would ask my children, what would be some alternate routes for this behavior of buying unhealthy foods? This process should only take about 15 minutes. After the project is over, I will then engage in conversation on what we should do as far as getting them on the right track of being healthy. This part of the lesson will not only require them to jot down their answers, but it will require them to think as well. They will think, like I said, about how much money they spend and How could they improve their buying so they can spend more on healthy food items? Last but not least, the visual spatial. The visual. On the visual spatial part of the lesson, it is very important. As researched by Gardner, a blind man can recognize shapes by a non-visual way. The spatial reasoning of the blind person allows them to translate tactile sensations into mental calculation of length and visualization of form. Some individuals, like myself, are visual learners. I will have the students incorporate drawings that pertain to the lesson, basically just to see if my students are on the same page as the lesson. We're going to draw pictures of the different types of physical activities that we will engage in. This will enable the students to learn in their best way. Positive help enhancers are good as well. This will be the end of my lesson, and I really do appreciate you for listening. Thank you.